What's up guys, Jim Collector here, back again with another unboxing and review, and today we are checking out Paul Atreides from Dune by INART. Alright, ladies and gents, the moment that I have been waiting for literal months. So this came out, I believe, in December, January time, 24, obviously early 25, and mine's only just arrived now. So let's hope it's worth the wait. So without further ado, let's kind of check out the box art, because this is probably the nicest looking box art that I've ever seen. Honestly, this just blew me away. I haven't even looked at the figure yet. This was enough just to check out. So you do have this kind of translucent sleeve here. It does say Dune up the top, and I do like this kind of, what was that, like a star kind of here motif there. And then Paul Atreides, I really like the font that they've used for this as well. Obviously fits in with the film. And down here you can say, dreams are messages from the deep. Very, very nice. And of course you've got INART once it's collectible, deluxe version, and that's all I can read there. On the side it does say Paul Atreides right down here, and it kind of keeps with that motif, lighter down the bottom, darker up the top. Around the back you've got more shiny stuff down here, and then you've got Dune along the side. Now of course if you do slip this beautiful slip cover off, you are left with this. And honestly, this is almost worthy as a display piece in and of itself. This does look incredible. I like the gold, I like the sand coloration, I like that you can see Paul Atreides' eyes throughout there as well. I got a bit of a smudge on my box here, that's okay. And then around the side, you got more of the same again, what we saw throughout. Really like the sandworm here, and then you got Paul down there again. This is just one of the nicest pieces of box art that I have ever seen since I became a collector. But enough about the box, let's check this out. So I believe this is a flip cover of some sort, but I could be wrong. Let's have a look. Is it? Oh yes, it is. It's a magnet. There we go. Oh my gosh, what have I done? There we go. All right, we've got that open. So if you're an INART collector, you have seen a lot of this before. We do have a foam inlay here. Then you've got your movie ticket, absolutely love these, and then your instruction manual and guide, and the thank you letter inside as well. We flip this open, and there we have all of the accessories. Of course we do have Paul's body, then we have his sculpt here as well, and then the various accessories. I'm going to slide this out for now, and then underneath we have the most important bit, that rooted head sculpt. And let's waste no time, let's get straight into that. So they keep some foam on top now, that's interesting to see. And of course this is the newer design. And how does that hair look out the box? Pretty damn good. I will say it does stick out to the sides a little bit. I don't know how accurate that is, but the styling wise looks phenomenal, guys. Absolutely love it. It does have that kind of strong chemical smell. They put a lot of stuff in here, but what do you think of that sculpt? I think it looks absolutely phenomenal. Honestly, really blows my mind. Like in terms of likeness, this has got to be pretty close to a 10. I'm sure there are things that pull it back. I don't think we'll ever see a 10 head sculpt, but this could easily be a 9. Absolutely gorgeous. But we'll check it out a little bit more later on the body with some closer up photos using a different camera. And then I've been really excited to check out the base. So this is the base here, if I slide that on off, and it's a nice looking base. I like the design they've gone with this. The one thing I will say, quite plasticky. It does feel quite plasticky. I do miss, like when the first Joker came out, it had that real wood and metal base. I don't know how they would make this out of real materials, but I don't know, it's just something to note. But the base itself does look beautiful. And then I like how they've put the name plaque on here as well. It says Paul and Dune there, and it just looks fantastic, like a real building on Arrakis. And of course, I do think you have those sliding magnets again, which I'm glad to see. I'm glad they haven't got rid of the magnets. I do think this needs work, but I definitely prefer a magnetic base on mine. Right, we might as well finish off this tray. So what else do we have? We do have his backpack as well that goes with his still suit. And this is a really, really nice accessory. Now, I believe it opens. It does open. You've got all this different stuff in here, and you've got further accessories as well, because you can take this. This is a fun bit. You can take this out of the of the backpack and then pop that back in. This is gonna be difficult to do on camera, isn't it, to get that back in there? But that's a really, really nice accessory. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to get that back in. There we go. Almost there. All right, there we go. So make sure you figure out how to do that properly. But that's a really nice accessory to have, and dropping a bit right there. And I'm really glad that they included this. I like that it's a functional backpack in terms of like you can use it for different bits and pieces. That's really nice to see. I don't think you can take anything else out of here. That looks like a loose bit in there, but I'm not going to try it. I don't want to damage it. The actual sculpt work is beautiful on this. Really like what they've done. Nice padding on the back as well, so it shouldn't damage the suit at all. So we'll try sticking this on the figure a little bit later. Then of course we do, what on earth was that? Oh, it's the mouse. I forgot about the mouse. So of course this is the deluxe version. It does come with Muad'Dib on there. So that is the little mouse, the little sand mouse, and it is really nicely done for such a tiny little piece. Like the eyes have a little bit of life. They are just black, but that's kind of how it is with a mouse. He's absolutely adorable. Look at that. I'm actually really impressed with this, despite forgetting that it came with this at all. All right, anyway, back to his cloak. So I believe this goes on the still suit. Yeah, there we go. So it's fairly tattered. It's a very light, thin material, which I actually quite like, because that makes sense, because it would be quite a light, thin material that they would have used in the film, because it's on a desert. It's a really hot planet. They need to protect from the sun, but they don't want to be overly warm. It's got that really patched together feel, which I think is really realistic for the kind of film that we're going for. It is wired as well throughout, so you can get it kind of blowing in the wind. The hood itself is wired as well. We'll have to see if this hood fits nicely. With Hot Toys, it's normally a bit of a drag, these wired hoods, but let's see how INART does. Right, what else do we have in here? We do have, okay, awesome. We have his grapple hooks. I forget the actual name of these from the book and the movie, but these are really cool. So you do get two of them, one for each side, and I believe they rotate. Let's see if I can do it without breaking it. All right, back again. It took me a minute to figure that out, but yeah, they do just extend. You can kind of extend them either way, and I just couldn't remember which way they should go judging by the film. They do extend as well, which is nice. They don't hold out here. They do kind of slide back in like so, but all in all, they're pretty nice. So I'm glad that they included these. Right, back onto that first tray, and we do of course have the body right here. So let's check this out. I tell you what, I'm not a fan of all the plastic that they do on this. Nice foam inlays, and we get all this plastic. I think it's just something they should think of. I know they just want to protect it, but just food for thought. And here we have the still suit body, and good lord, this looks absolutely phenomenal. There's a lot of different kinds of materials here. It has this one here, which has a kind of rubber feel to it throughout on these bits, kind of going towards his groin there. They do feel a bit rubber, so that's interesting. I'll have to check the materials and the instructions, and when I'm doing my rating, so I know what to do with these. You don't get a lot of stretch to the side. I can see the seam pulling here, so I would just be careful on how much you rip them out to the sides. In terms of articulation, it should be, yeah, double bend on the knee, and you get a lot of good movement even with the suit there. You can kick his leg out, not too much about there, I'd say, just from limitations of the suit. Back again, not much further. Again, just the suit limiting it there. Arms you can get right out to the side almost, which is good to see. They won't quite go 90 degrees, but they'll get pretty damn close. And then I believe again you get a double bend on that elbow, and then you can swivel as well. So it's a really nice suit, really nice detail as well throughout. Have a quick look on the back. There is some assembly acquired, I believe, attaching the back and such, and of course the rest of the suit, but it does look phenomenal. Here's the hood on this suit as well, And then it does have this INART sticker here. This is to kind of keep that nose plug stuck down so it doesn't get damaged. I don't know if you can see it there. So that's the nose plug right there. A very, very tiny and fragile piece. So it'll be interesting trying to get that on the body later. Putting that to the side, we do of course have the, I'm going to call it the cowled sculpt. And boy, this one, honestly, I would say is as good as a rooted one. Just the detail Hot Toys INART managed to get in this expression from such a small bit of actual head sculpt. That's really impressive. The shading around the eyes, the eyebrow kind of sculpt work as well, and the eyes look lifelike. They look absolutely real. This is incredible. To access the eyes, you do pop off the top of his head like that, which looks really creepy. Now he has kind of a Voldemort look to him, which is bizarre. And then you can just access the eyes through there. And it's magnets that hold it onto place, so it snaps back on super easy. God, this is gorgeous, guys. All right, I'm not going to open these one by one. What we're going to do now is we're going to go through a quick fire of all the different accessories. All right, accessories wise, then we do of course have the Chris knife, which is absolutely incredibly sculpted. Detail from the film is there. It does feel a bit flimsy. I don't know if flimsy is the right way, just the nature of the style. It is of course made of plastic, so do be careful with it, but it is a really, really nice piece of work. You can see inscription on the blade there, which is fantastic. You've got the sculpt work kind of throughout the Chris knife as well. And then you do get this nifty little scabbard that he just slides right into. I absolutely adore this. Of course, you do get a thumper, and yes, it does actually work. There is no spring, so you can have it either like pose open and up like so, or down. It is really nice. There isn't anywhere from what I can see to actually put it to kind of hold it up. So that's interesting. I guess you can have him holding it, but you can't actually put it onto the base, which would have been a nice little inclusion, I think, especially if they'd given us a sand base. Now, I'm not going to go through all of them, but you do get a huge amount of gloved hands. Absolutely tons of them, which is really good. Some specific ones, you do get one to hold the grip hooks. Oh. You do get ones to hold the grip hooks like these, so you can see it's got that gap through the middle, so he can hold on to those hooks like he does in the movie. Various gesturing hands. You've got one for a gun as well. So a lot of good gloved hands. The details on them are fantastic. They're all sculpted, but they do look like real suit material. So kudos to INART for doing that. And you do get two non-sculpted hands as well, and these do look really, really nice. You have his House Atreides signet ring there as well. You can see the creasing and the detail and the skin of the hand as well. So these are really, really nice. Very close to third-party handwork. Not quite there, but very, very close. You can even see, it's hard to see, like the fine kind of textures that you would see in some, well, you can see it in my hands now, the kind of fine textures throughout. So really impressed with how these look. And then you do get this is a Mauler pistol. Now it took me a minute to work this out, and I did have to consult the instructions, but you do unfold it like so, and it creates the pistol. This is again really nicely sculpted. It is all plastic, there's no die cast on this one, although we've seen die cast weapons a lot before, but it's really nicely done. The paint works good, the coloration's nice. It does have a working spring. Now I might be experiencing some QC issues. I feel like this is meant to, based on the instructions, stay in if I push it in, but it doesn't, it springs back. So guys, if any of you has this figure already, let me know. Does your spring hold in place once you push it in? Am I forgetting to do something? Do let me know. But all in all, this is a really nice accessory. Finally, we do get the mask for the still suit as well. Again, a really nice accessory right here. And this is to go on the rooted sculpt. So going to be interesting trying to put that on. I don't know if I'm going to try it. There's not a lot of give in this. It's not that elastic. There's a bit of give, but it kind of feels like I'm going to rip it. So whether I'll ever use this on the rooted sculpt, I don't know, but it's a nice to have. But I do think they should have put some sort of cushioning in here to prevent paint rub. Finally, we have these two accessories. I'll be completely honest, I'm not sure what these are. So guys, let me know in the comments below what these are. This looks to be some sort of device. I really can't remember this from the film. And this looks like it goes onto his suit. Remember I said earlier, some assembly required. So that's what that will be.
Alright then guys, here we go into pose number 1. And you know what, even in a simple pose like this figure looks absolutely stunning. I really like how this turned out. It's probably one of the most lifelike looking figures that I have in my collection. So obviously we've got little Muad'Dib at the bottom there, and then we have Paul standing up, pretty straight and simple, although I have noticed that I have left an exposed wrist joint there, which isn't good for a still suit at all. Definitely not. But yeah, this is a great figure. It poses relatively well. We'll go through more poses as the video continues, but let's punch into some of the details, starting off with the head sculpt. So diving in nice, close and personal, we can really see the quality of this sculpt. As you can see, he almost has kind of like a sweat look about him. The hair looks quite realistic, although a little bit poofy, but the actual likeness to Timothée Chalamet, I think, is really, really strong on this. I definitely say this likeness is at least a 9 out of 10. There might be some issues here and there that aren't quite perfect, but especially once you've got that sculpt on the body, this just looks fantastic. Even, and I'm going to be weird here, even the eyebrows, like they're sculpted, but they look hyper realistic, which gives this character a lot more life, which is crazy to think about eyebrows, but there we go. No, this sculpt is definitely a 9 out of 10. Honestly, I think the most difficult thing about this figure is deciding if we go for the rooted sculpt or for the helmeted look, and I've kind of gone for a hybrid in the next one here. So this is still with the rooted sculpts, but I've decided to like pop the hood on as well, and also his kind of mask, like he's just pulled it off, and this came together so nicely. And also this is a good opportunity to show you how you kind of put in the nose plug. So as you can see here, it's pretty much just a friction fit. Just be super careful and delicate. I did break mine. Luckily INART did send me out a replacement one, but you just pop it in like so, but be super careful because it is quite a delicate piece of rubber. Alright, moving on. This is kind of a mishmash of between melee, knife, chip and shatter. The arm's a bit too high and kind of a Lisan al-Gaib kind of pose. Yeah, this is quite good. You can get the arm up quite high, which I quite liked. It is a bit of a stress on the suit, so I would be careful. But I think this is quite a nice pose as well. I like that it incorporates the Chris knife as well, because that is a beautiful little accessory that I've included with this figure. Alright, and now going straight into kind of a stoic walking pose, but with the non-rooted sculpt now. And guys, honestly, I'm still fighting with myself. How do I display this? I feel like I almost wish I had two of these figures, one for the rooted and one for the sculpted sculpt, because they just look so good. Just such a nice figure. Anyway, this is kind of a standard walking pose with this one. We will go dynamic next, but I just really like how he looks just standing there. The details in the suit, there's just so much to kind of feast your eyes on. And as promised, here is our more of a dynamic fighting pose now. I thought I'd switch up. A lot of these poses have been very museum pose, but I thought I'd try and play around with it. And all in all, it looks pretty good. I actually quite like this. The wire in the, it's not really a cape, and the cloak's really strong. Although I will say, and I'll put it up here, he's a bit tight kind of in the crotch area. You can't split those legs too far apart. Otherwise, I think you risk damaging the suit. But overall, he's a joy to pose. And of course, on to our final pose, I did have to use the worm hooks, because How can you not? That's one of the most iconic scenes from the Dune franchise, so I'm really glad how they added those. And this is, again, a really nice simple pose, doesn't put a lot of stress on the suit or the body, but looks dynamic and looks pretty intimidating as well. Right, we're coming up to the end now, so I'm going to go into kind of my likes and dislikes of the figure. So my main likes are, of course, the rooted sculpt. That is absolutely phenomenal. As I've said previously in a video, easily a 9 out of 10 on likeness. My only complaint is the hair's a bit too puffy. I wish it would have been a little bit thinner on the sculpt. Then of course the non-rooted sculpt as well. I can't really claim likeness here because it's just his eyebrows and his eyes, but the quality on that is incredible, and the realism as well that comes through on that sculpt is really second to none. And then of course the still suit details just on their own, it's such an intricately detailed suit, and it looks absolutely incredible, and they've spared no expense. There are some inaccuracies throughout, mainly in kind of the codpiece area, but for me, I don't have the best eye for detail. I've just noticed that through what others have said. And then of course you do get the wired cloak, which looks absolutely superb, and it's a really thin material, so the wire's not that strong, but it doesn't kind of need to be, because it kind of works just perfectly as it is. Now, as much as I like this figure, there are some dislikes, and some of them might be user error on my part, but things I've noticed, the catch tube easily breaks. Mine did break as well. I tried to be super careful with it, but it broke nonetheless. Luckily, INART did sort me out with a replacement, and it came pretty quickly as well, so props to them for sorting that out. It is worth noticing that I did buy it directly from them, so it may differ if you bought from a third-party distributor. And some of the accessories are slightly delicate as well, like the grip hooks that we have here, they're a little bit delicate. I'd be careful around them. And then of course swapping the sculpts is a real pain to deal with. I've had a few INART figures now and it's never the easiest, but this was by far the hardest head swap that I've had to do, which kind of makes it a bit more annoying having to switch two sculpts, because I probably want to do it a lot because I'm not sure which sculpts that I prefer, so that does create a bit of a problem. And lastly, I would have preferred, and this is a small thing, a more elastic strap for the separate mask, so you could put it over the rooted sculpt, maybe with some felt in the inside as well, so it's less likely to get damaged from putting that on, because I like how he looks with that mask on with the rooted hair, but I'm a bit concerned that over time, because it is a tight strap, it will cause some paint rub on the sculpt, so I'll probably have to avoid that. But guys, now it is rating time, so I'm going to give this figure a 9 out of 10. Despite my dislikes with it, they are quite small and in no way are they figure breaking. This is an absolutely incredible release from INART, and I hope to see future releases like this. So guys, I hope you stuck around this long. If you did, well done. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again in a future video. Peace out.